Good. First up, we have our Run program with Brian Rogers. He is a business attorney who focuses on helping clients buy and sell small businesses. Since being loaned out by his law firm to a Fortune 500 company for 15 months early in his career to help the legal department handle the company's contracts, Brian has had a special passion for contracts. This morning, he is going to share with us the tips for using Microsoft Word in business. Please welcome Brian.
Great. All right, so how many Microsoft Word Power users do we have out here? All right, well, I'm done because you guys should be teaching me. Yeah, Microsoft Word probably is the one tool that I use the most when I work with contracts and in my practice generally. So I thought I would share with you a few little nuggets and tips from my own experiences using Microsoft Word. So this is a screenshot of Notebook, Microsoft's text editor. So it just edits text. So you probably can't see here, but it's, oh, there we go. It says, I love experts for entrepreneurs. And there's not much you can do with the text editor. You can resize the text a little bit bigger. You can maybe make it bold and ital. You can do a little bit of editing, search and replace and those sorts of things. But then you're going to hit the end of its capabilities. But if you really want to effectively work with your documents, you're going to need a word processor. Microsoft Word, for those of us who use Office 365 and are in the PC environment, is the best by far. So one of the features is advanced search. So I said the little text editor had some basic search functions, but Microsoft has advanced search. So this is a screenshot of the ribbon that we're all familiar with. You've got little tabs across the top. So in order to get to advanced search, go to the Home tab, and then over to the right is this little editing drop down. And then hit that and find. And since we're doing advanced search, there's more navigation to do. So drop down on find, and you'll get to advanced find. See, Steve, there's a lot of slides, but they go fast. He was afraid this is going to be a 2-hour presentation because there were slides. So, and then to get to the advanced features, one of the places they hide them is under the More button. So, click on that, and then you've got some nice little advanced features. So, one of them that I use fairly often is match case. So when you're searching and you have the match case option checked, it will search for exactly not just the letters, but also the uppercase or lowercase. So in working with contracts, there's a lot of times that words are capitalized, because they're using a specialized meaning for that contract. So if I want to search through a contract to make sure that a particular term is capitalized where it should be and not capitalized where it shouldn't, I can navigate through that pretty easily using this match case. And then another one that I use quite often is the find whole words only. So if you're trying to find, a lot of times like a small word like his or something like that, you're trying to check whether you've got the right, masculine, feminine, or whatever. If I'm writing an employment contract for a woman, for instance, and I want to make sure that I don't have a bunch of hises in there, then I can just search for his. Well, a short word like that a lot of times is embedded in bigger words like, history, this, other things. So in order to have fewer false hits, you can click on search for whole words only, and it'll search just for his, not for HIS, wherever it is. So anyway, advanced search can be helpful. And so that's one of our good expert features, which you all knew about since you're power users. So hopefully somebody got something out of that. So something that I do often with my documents, I don't know if you've seen or are familiar with straight quotes versus the smart quotes. The smart quotes are kind of curvy, so it's got 66 on the opening quotes, 99 on the closing ones, or you've just got the straight up and down. And I don't know if you've ever noticed, but if someone cuts and pastes from one document to another, a lot of times they come into the new document as straight quotes and not as smart quotes that look curvy. As a lawyer, you're like, that came from somewhere else. This is not original. So you send me a contract that has that cut and pasting, and it just gives me a clue as to the history of the document, and maybe I need to look at that a little bit more closely because it's not part of your form document. You did it specially for me. So one thing you can do is search and replace all of the quotes, and it'll automatically switch them over to the smart quotes. So the way you do that, go to the Home tab on the ribbon. Again, editing, but this time instead of find, we're going to hit the replace button. And then those are the big quotes or the double quotes in both what you're finding and what you're replacing. Hit replace all, and then every quote will just be automatically replaced. And unless you have your settings different than the default, in Word, it'll replace all of them with the nice little smart quotes. So there's a little screenshot of it doing its thing. So there's the little 66. Okay, insert hyperlinks. So here's a little sentence from a document. In my blog post, How to Sign a Contract, I explain how to ensure that your contracts are signed correctly. So that post does actually exist, and if I want to make it easy for my readers to navigate to that, I can embed a hyperlink to that post in the text itself. So first you'll highlight it. Highlight the text that you want to be the link, that'll turn like blue and underlined or whatever. And then now we're going to the Insert tab on the ribbon and click down on the Link button. And there's a little drop down that comes, and then at the bottom of that is Insert Link. So at the top, I'm sure you guys have much better eyes than I do, and you can see that very easily, but in the top it says Text to Display. And it says how to sign a contract. So that's the text that we had highlighted to begin with. And then you just drop the link down in the bottom where it says address, hit OK, and now you've got a hyperlink. So when your readers click on that, they'll go right to your little blog post. So what if I want the hyperlink to be shown? I want people to see what the web address is in the document. So I've changed this a little bit to say, how to sign a contract, and then I've got the link there, but it's not linkable, so I want to make a hyperlink out of it. One way you could do just what I just did, or another way is you can use styles and make this text into the hyperlink style. So again, we're going to highlight the link that we want, go to Home, and now in the middle of the ribbon on the Home tab is this style. I think they call it the style pane, but these are various styles. And this little bitty downward arrow in the bottom right of that, if you click on that, the style dialog box will pop up. Just scroll down to hyperlink, click that, and you got a hyperlink. So you can do that with any text. Okay. Now one that I really like is auto text. And basically what this does is it'll help you, it'll fill out text when you just start typing the beginning of it. And so you can program Word to, create these little text snippets. So one thing that I do a lot is in my emails. Now my examples here are in Word, but these work in email, in Outlook also, and this is where I use these two examples the most. But a lot of companies, a lot of attorneys, they automatically have a footer inserted on all their emails that says this is confidential or whatever. And I've always questioned how effective that is for ensuring confidentiality when that same header is inserted into personal communications. It's inserted, you order a pizza via email. This is confidential. So how effective really is that? Did you really intend this to be confidential? So what I do in my emails is everyone that I send out I consider, is this confidential? And if it is, then I type this. But me being a very efficient lawyer who works by the hour, want to save client's money, I don't just type it, the whole thing out. As I type, this little message will come up with the whole string, confidential with the little stars, and it says press enter to insert. So I type the first 2-3 characters, hit enter, and confidential is there. So how do I work this magic, you might be asking. So
We are.
good. I like an inquisitive audience. So again, go to the insert tab, and now way over to the right is a button called quick parts, and there's a little drop down arrow, so you click on that. And there's auto text is the top one, and that's the feature we're actually using. So here, that's a little bit small, isn't it? But you can see to the left is that confidential auto text that I've programmed in. So, but another thing that I often do in my emails is I try to, a lot of my communications are sending contracts that are in process but not done. We don't want to agree to this yet. These are just drafts and we're in negotiations. Well, last thing I want is for somebody to say, oh, we've got a contract. You sent me a contract. So now your client is bound by that. Sounds far-fetched, but it does happen. There was a case, I don't know, a recession or two ago in St. Louis, downtown, and it was between Union Square or Union Station and Discovery Store from the Discovery Channel. And because of the downturn of business, Discovery was vacating, basically breaking their lease, and so there were negotiations on how to handle that. And at some point along the way, one of the parties thought they had a binding settlement agreement, and the other one tried to get out of it, and the court held that their email exchange was a contract. So one way to avoid that is, and I made this really small so only the people with the 8 carats can read it. So it says, this email does not constitute an offer, and a binding contract will not be formed unless and until the parties execute a written agreement. So I don't want to type that every time I want it in my email, so we use the auto text. So highlight it, go back the same process to the word parts, and then at the bottom of that drop down is Save Selection to Quick Part Gallery. So click on that, and so that text will be automatically typed when I type what I put in the name here, no binding agreement. So in my email, start typing no binding agreement. By the time I get to B, I probably have the little pop-up that says if you want to populate that whole sentence, then hit enter. So hit enter, and there it is. So save me a little bit of time. And I mentioned that you can use this in Microsoft Outlook also, which is where I tend to use these two auto texts. So here's a new email. I think it's confidential. Start typing confidential. Hit enter, and confidential goes in there. And then I start typing no binding, and hit enter, and it gets populated. So anyway, just save my, well, I don't want to tell you what my rate is, but save my clients a few cents at least, maybe $10, $20. Okay, so how much time do we have, Mark?
You've got a total of, looks like 4 minutes left.
4 minutes, okay, we can do templates for sure then. So, and probably get to styles. So templates, do we all use templates with our, okay, so, as a lawyer, you never want to start with a blank sheet of paper, and so even if I'm drafting a total new contract and don't have any, it's not based on any form at all, I don't start with a blank piece of paper, I start with one of my contract templates. So you do that by clicking the file way over to the left, File tab on the ribbon, and click on New. And then if you have templates saved, now this is how to use the template you've already saved. I didn't want to bog us down with actually how to create a template. That would be really a master class. So anyway, click on Personal, and that'll take you to all of your saved templates. And I've got one just called Contract. So I click on that, and that's what comes up. So I've got kind of the framework of the contract, and it also has a lot of the features that I'm going to use in my contracts, like the different, how the sections and subsections are going to be numbered and all that. So I'll kind of point that out real quick. With styles, and the way that it is, the feature that actually helps with that structure is styles. So we'll kind of delve into styles a little bit, but not too deeply. So we went to the style pane earlier when we were doing hyperlinks. So go to home, and then there in the middle, I've got a little arrow that points to it. Those are the various styles that are available for this particular document. So if you want to, the agreement is in all caps, the title at the top, and so that's a contract title style. And I know these are a little bit small, but you'll have to take my word for it. That's what the style says. You click it down. So, and then I've got 3 different levels of headings. I've got section, main section headings, and that's heading 1. And we've all seen heading 1, heading 2, heading 3 with Word. So I've got it programmed here. So heading 1 is my, numbers, and then heading 2 are the A, B, C's in parentheses, and heading 3 are the little Roman numerals, 1, 2, 3. So. And then also, if you scroll down on my form, I've got the framework for signature blocks, and those are also based on styles. So you can see here the different lines for, party 1 is where you type in the name of the company, and then it's by whoever's signing it, their name and title. So those are all based on styles, and if you want to see what styles are in use. You can click on the View tab. Sorry I didn't blow these up. They're a little bit small. But if you buy the movie, buy the video, you can, come back and see it as good as you want. So I'm not sure what we're selling those for, but I'm sure we'll get some takers. So anyway, if you go to draft view, click on draft, then over in the left column, it'll show you all the styles that are in use for each of the different paragraphs. Oh, I did blow this one up. So these are the styles that my signature blocks are using. So, and the top one is normal, so that it's just text, that ends as of the effective date. And then the next few are my contract signature style. And those contract signature styles are, they start 3.5 inches from the left margin. They're single spaced with no space below it. Because my regular paragraphs, the normal has, a little bit of, they call it leading, I guess, in the publishing industry, but a little bit of space below your, the last line. So that you don't have to hit, extra returns to put space between them. And then the last style there is contract signature title. And you'll notice that it's about, maybe a 1/4 inch farther over to the right so that it lines up nicely with the beginning of the underline, which is the proper way to do it, if you didn't know. So anyway, those are some styles that I have in my template. And I'm out of time, so I think I'm going to quit before I get the hook. So if I have any questions, however, I would be happy. Yes, sir.
I would like to compliment you on doing a presentation without stick figures. That was great.
I missed stick figures. I did that earlier.
Brian, what's the difference between quotes and smart quotes? Like, when would you use them? Why would I care?
Well, it's a matter of style, but I think you would use the smart quotes because they're prettier, and it's closer to what a publisher would use, for a published book. There's no difference in meanings, whether they're straight up and down, it's still the same. So, but what's really bad is if you have a combination, a document that has some and not others.
Yeah.
It really does show that most likely that text has been cut and pasted in there later. So,
Very good.
I'm gonna help you save your clients even more money. You wanna
All right.
insert a hyperlink into Word or into email.
Mm-hmm.
If you put the typed link in, highlight it, right mouse click, a little menu will come down and you can say hyperlink. And
Nice.
it will link it for you.
All
You
right.
don't even have to go up into the styles or anything like that, the mouse selection.
Perfect. I knew we had some power users.
Yeah. The confidentiality thing,
Uh-huh.
where do you put that? Do you put it on every page or just?
I put it, normally I'm doing it in emails and I put it at the very top. If it's super
Not at the
important,
bottom?
definitely not at the bottom. I mean, you want people to know it's confidential, and that's why I want it to be more prominent. If it's super sensitive, well, for one thing, I'm probably not going to be sending it via email, at least not unencrypted. But if it's more sensitive, I might put it in the title of the email, and sometimes also put in there "do not forward" or something, just so my clients don't just
And then
forward
in
the email on.
turn, that other element that you put in there, like this doesn't mean it's a contract, is that still at the top?
No, that'd be more like at the bottom. So, anything else? Alrighty.
Very cool.